and that's now been delayed, and that could potentially be disastrous for our fishing communities, who of course were the biggest losers on the day we joined the European Union back in 1973, European Economic Community as it then was, and ought to have been the first beneficiaries from our departure.
But you know this is part of the transition deal, and you also know that the Prime Minister made it very clear there were going to have to be compromises on both sides.
This is compromising with people's livelihoods. I mean, the argument that you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs is all very well until you're dealing with people's livelihoods and potentially putting them out of business.
Well, the stunt, which was organised to gain maximum attention ahead of today's Prime Minister's questions, was supposed to start with a Riverside media conference.
So that is the boat. It has arrived here at Embankment, but turns out it's not allowed to stop. So they're sort of doing a sail-by, and then they're going to carry on up to Westminster and stop at Parliament. Best laid plans.
A little further up the river, they were finally able to pull in, and we're told a certain Mr Farage got on board, just in time for some high-profile fish dumping, right in front of the Palace of Westminster.
Well, that was it. They made it to the Houses of Parliament. Nigel Farage got on the boat, they threw some fish off the boat, and now they're sailing off up the river.
It's on, isn't it?
I can't wait.
We're along here today because the transition that the government has capitulated to, where we'll still have to re-obey the disastrous common fisheries policy, presents a death sentence to what's left of the UK fishing industry. It's not just 21 months that we can survive through. The European Union can implement detrimental legislation to cull what's left of the UK's fishing industry, and then that would allow them to use international law to claim the fish, our resources that we'd be no longer able to catch ourselves due to the loss of our fleet.
On the 29th of March next year, when we finally leave the European Union, instead of seizing on that great Brexit prize, which is taking back control of our waters, we are literally, within seconds of leaving, handing back all that control straight back to the European Union, staying within the hated common fisheries policy, which has done so much damage to coastal communities across the country. So it's here to show the government that we are unhappy with that, and that actually they need to rectify this by getting it right when we leave, and ensuring that on the 1st of January 2021 we genuinely are an independent coastal state.
Well, we need a Prime Minister that says, I'm sorry, fishing is the acid test of Brexit. It's the ultimate image of our sovereignty, our territorial waters, and we are going to take them back. Please, Mrs May. I mean, you talk tough on Russia, please talk tough on this at the European Summit tomorrow.
Because the transition that the government has capitulated to, we will still have to re-obey the disastrous common fisheries policy, presents a death sentence to what's left of the UK fishing industry. It's not just 21 months that we can survive through. The European Union can implement detrimental legislation to cull what's left of the UK's fishing industry, and then that would allow them to use international law to claim the fish, our resources that we'd be no longer able to catch ourselves due to the loss of our fleet. So the transition is an existential threat to the UK fishing industry, and therefore we cannot be in the CFP, or we will go back to years ago when we saw hundreds of boats taken to Denmark and torn to pieces and scrapped. And that's why we're doing this demonstration today. Over to Ross.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you so much for organising today. It's so important that we show that we're on the side of our fishermen, because the great Brexit prize is that we can take back our sovereignty, take back control of our waters. And on the 29th of March 2019, when we should be doing that, taking back that control, we are within seconds handing it back to Brussels. And as Aaron has rightly said, that during that time the EU can implement policies which are detrimental to our fishing industries, because we have seen that over the last 40 years the common fisheries policy has devastated coastal communities the length and breadth of this country. We want out, and we want out now. And the fact that we are handing back that control to Brussels, staying in that hated policy after exit date, is just unacceptable. And we need to make sure that we work to achieve that goal, that end state of being an independent coastal state, taking back all of that control and rejuvenating our communities. And that's why it's so important that we have